It was late December in a small Texas town. We just received 5 inches of snow earlier in the day. I can't remember what time it was. All I remember is that it was dark out, and I was playing in my room. It's important to note that my room was made up of 2 rooms, a mud room with a door leading to out front, then my actual bedroom. The door was an older style wood door with all the old hardware and had a window on the top half. It had a window shade, but that wouldn't stop anyone from looking in if they wanted. My room was the frontmost, with my parents' room being in the back of the house. I was in my mud room, playing with my Hot Wheels when I felt something weird, like someone was watching me. I was facing the door at this point and looked right up at the window. I was trying to focus on the little openings left by the window shade. I stared, looking for any reason to feel unsafe and run. After a while, I was sure that there was nothing, so I went back to playing. A few minutes later, I got the feeling again. This time, I didn't look at the door, but instead moved to where my back was now to the door. I was just hoping that it was all in my head. Just then, the most terrifying thing happened. There was a noise at the door, like the doorknob had been touched. I was still turned around, back facing the door. I was completely frozen at the metal-on-metal sound of the doorknob. It was moving. I didn't know how or why, but it was moving, slowly turning, testing the lock. I wanted to move, but I was frozen. It was like someone glued every joint in my body. My chest felt like a car was parked on it. My parents had been in the shower all the way at the back of the house, leaving me at the front all alone, with the only room lit up being mine. Suddenly, the knob was not being gently moved. Someone was turning it with force. This door was one that had to be locked with a skeleton key, so the knob could turn and open freely. Luckily, there was 2 deadbolts. Whoever was on the other side just figured out the knob was free to open. As soon as I heard the knob turn all the way, I sprung up to the door about 5 feet, my back to the wall. The door fell silent. I found myself glued to the wall, unable to move. Then, the knob turned slowly. I remember watching, waiting for it to turn all the way. When it did, whoever was on the other side started trying to budge the door and pry at it. First, it was easy going, but then they started pounding into the door with their foot. They got only 2 kicks in when I unfroze and screamed for my life. I sprinted to the back of the house to get my parents. They asked what was wrong, and I said someone tried to break in. They ran and checked, not bothering to look outside, which I pleaded them to go check outside. They just said my imagination was running wild, and it was with an animal or the old age of the house. They took one final look in my mudroom, not bothering to investigate any further. I was told to go to bed. It took me hours. I don't even remember falling asleep. All I remember is staring at the door from my bed, never taking my eyes off the doorknob. Suddenly, I was woken up by my parents, who were obviously distressed and seemed to be scared. My mom grabbed me by both shoulders and got right in front of me. She asked me very sternly why I thought someone tried to break in. When I told them this time, they seemed to listen. I was worried how serious they were as they asked me about everything. When I was done, they said they had to show me something. They took me to the front door and out to the front yard, and pointed to my door near the driveway. You could clearly see the boot prints in the snow, walking along the street through our yard, and straight to my window, then my mudroom door, where I had been playing the night prior. The police showed up and took a report, but nothing ever came of it. I was never able to sleep well in that house. I can never forget what it felt like as a child to go through this, and to not have my parents believe me. I'm just glad I was not home alone, and very thankful for those deadbolts.
This story was narrated by Nightmare Narrative. He has awesome content including scary stories, compilations and scary adventures, so show him some love by subscribing to him. And also we started a new YouTube channel called DarkAce Narrative, so check out our channel. Links are in the description below.